rush hour traffic, there is a stalled vehicle in the right lane causing...
When you're really in pain, relief can't come fast enough. Introducing new Bayer Quick Release Crystals. Active crystals dissolve quickly on your tongue. With an extra pain-relieving booster, it's ready to go to work faster than caplets or tablets. It's a whole new way from Bayer to dissolve pain fast. New Bayer Quick Release Crystals in a bold citrus taste. Expect relief fast.
Number 5, John from Dahlong, D-A-H-L, as in Arlene Dahl, O-N-E-G-A, Dahlongia. Huh, I think I had that once. Isn't that an advanced strain of Dahlongia, Georgia? In your interview with Pat Sajak, you said you often weren't comfortable in your own hosting skin on your HBO show. My impression in watching your interview, you interviewed George Carlin, was that you are not good at faking laughter. Carlin was mostly not funny, but you could not sit there straight-faced without showing disrespect to a comedy icon. I thought you needed an Ed. Your Ed could laugh uproariously while you cracked a sardonic grin or faked a wry chuckle. What was involved with your HBO decision to fly solo? It's 27 minutes long. Well, you know, where am I going to cut the guy in, quite frankly? On this show, I have Salmon 3 hours a day. I like to make somebody laugh, but there I had an audience to make laugh. And Carlin, I do remember George's game was not what it used to be at that point, but I felt such reverence for him as a comedian who'd grown up during his time. He was on Mount Rushmore. And he was always so sweet to me off stage. I know George was turned into the quintessential curmudgeon on stage, but he always had a big smile and a hug for me. And man, I'm telling you, I was at a comedy festival in Aspen once, and it was one of my proudest moments. Across a crowded room, I see Carlin recognizing, I go, "Dennis!" and walks across. And man, I felt like the king. The belle of the ball, that George Carlin even knew me. So yeah, I remember sitting there with George that night and thinking the game. And you know, not long after that, if I'm not mistaken, George turned himself in for treatment. He had fallen off the wagon. And I think at that point he might have been what they call a dry drunk, where he was really cranky. Now, I'm always cranky too, but I still drink here and there, but I'm just saying, it's not always the case, but I think George might have been fighting some demons at that point, and he was too predictably cranky. The thing I liked about George in the old days was the ebb and flow, where he'd have the very sweet thing or the very astute observation. You know, even with loved ones, why do you go into the fourth slice of bread? Why do you let them have the other three? You know, that I always thought that was so astute. And then when he'd lay somebody out, it would come right at the other side of the hippy-dippy weatherman, and it had all been balanced out, sort of a feng shui between angst and anger and sweetness. But towards the end, he was just turned into a flat-out, full-bore curmudgeon. And I do remember sitting there with him, and also, I don't have a good poker face, and I thought, what do I owe George here? Do I owe it to kind of be pleasant, or do I owe it to fake the uproarious laugh where he's going to look at me and think, look at this dickweed faking an uproarious laugh? So I was a little bit uncomfortable. The reason I didn't have an Ed on there, and by the way, there aren't many Eds flying around that knowing when to come in and knowing when to not. Ed McMahon, a genius. And I'm glad. It looks like he won a court case recently. He's got some of his financial house in order. I'm happy for him. He's a sweet guy. Ed hasn't passed, has he? I don't think so. But he was sick for a while, and then he had some financial problems. But I do remember him treating me like a king on Star Search when I was just a kid, and he treated us like we were in the business, and we weren't. And I'll always remember him for that he acted like we were on the Carson show. And sweet guy. And the reason I didn't have an Ed, because they don't make a lot of Eds, my friend. All right, that is Bathrobe section 68. It is now out of session. Appreciate your time and your patronage. I'm Dennis Miller. Enjoy these samples of the Bathrobe Sessions, a weekly video available only to members of the DMZ, the Dennis Miller Zone, on DennisMillerRadio.com.